Okay, yeah. So we got this comment from somebody saying, I found out that ever since we had a retired canine, he taught our dog Xena that fireworks and thunder are nothing to be afraid of. Now that Fritz is gone and we have Eva, she is being taught by Xena that she doesn't need to be afraid. And then somebody else commented, I think it makes training easier when you have a dog who is already well behaved and knows the routine. Okay. This is another thing we hear all the time.
Yeah.
You got any thoughts on that? Were you going to say something?
No, I'm interested to hear your take on that.
Okay. So this is 2 parts, right? So the thing that this one individual said, I think it makes training easier when you have a dog who's already well behaved and knows the routine. I agree with that, but not for the reasons that you think. To the thing that this individual said, which is her dog is teaching the other dog that fireworks and thunder are nothing to be afraid of, et cetera, that I disagree with, right? Yeah. Dogs don't really teach things in the way that we think. I think we look at it too human-like. And again, I don't know all the ins and outs of what's going on in this individual's head as far as what they're envisioning when they say that.
Yeah.
But dogs don't consciously be like, oh, yeah, no, don't worry about that thunder over there. It's cool. Hey, it's cool. It's cool. Don't worry. Hey, if you just do this, they're going to give you a treat for it. You know, let me show you the ropes, stuff like that. Like dogs don't go around doing that, right?
No.
It doesn't work that way. I think when a lot of people say things like, we'll get calls all the time from people and they'll say, God, my new dog is just learning a lot of bad habits from my old dog, right? Or on the contrary, we'll hear that, when somebody starts training with one of their dogs, they'll start the training, they'll be like, wow, my other dog is really picking up on these things as well, right? It's not because of what you think. What are the common things that dogs may, do poorly with, right? Let's say reacting at the front door, right? Let's say that's one that I feel like a lot of people will say my younger dog is really picking up on. It's learning bad habits from this one.
For sure.
I think really what's happening in that moment is that burst of energy of your dog reacting at the front door. I've said this a lot of times as well. It's like a magnet to dogs. That amount of energy just creates this frenzy where the dog wants to rush over and just be a part of what's going on. It's just too much stimulation. It's just inviting to them, right? So they get themselves into the mix because of the distraction that your other dog is providing.
Yep.
Right? And that's why we'll also see in that exact same scenario, we'll start seeing dogs fight. We just signed up a client for training that has 2 dogs that just got into a fight with each other after living together for like a year over the front door. The one dog reacts at the front door all the time, and to the other dog, it was just such a distraction, such a burst of energy that dog ultimately one day decided it was going to go over and try to control that energy and started a fight with the other dog, right? Yeah. The owners were like, oh my gosh, it came out of nowhere. This happened a million times before and it never turned into a fight. And it's like, yeah, it happened a million times before. And slowly that distraction became too much for the dog to practice impulse control around, where they finally decided that they were going to do something about it. Yeah. Right? So front door, that's one example where we'll see it, right? Now, on the contrary, let's say these people that made this comment, let's say their last dog used to be really bad with fireworks and thunderstorms and stuff like that, right? And that dog got past it, right? And then they have a new dog, and the new dog is not rehearsing that firework anxiety, right? Yeah. I think we as humans would equate that to, well, this dog got past it and understood it wasn't scary, so this dog is just teaching the other dog that there's nothing to be scared of, when in actuality, this dog probably had noise phobia issues. You got past it by doing training with that dog, and then this dog, because this dog isn't rehearsing an extreme aversive reaction to those noises going on outside, this dog is not succumbing to that stimulation. Yeah. Just right?
Whatever.
It's not that it's learning anything from that dog. It's just the additional distraction of what that dog may have been doing in the past is no longer present. So your dog won't be stimulated by that urge to do so. Right? But again, it has nothing to do with a conscious dogs teaching each other to do it thing. It simply has to do with the fact that an out of control dog, in whatever regards you want to say, firework anxiety, doorbell fucking reactivity on the walk, right? Getting into stuff, things like that. It's simply a distraction.
Yeah.
It's simply a distraction, right? Your dog getting into the trash can. He's not like, hey, buddy, come on over here and get some snacks out of this can with me. It's just like a younger dog is going to be curious with what the other dog is doing. If you're not there to supervise it, they're obviously going to go investigate what's going on over there and realize over there are snacks. But it's not that the dog taught them to do it. It's that dog doing it was a distraction and led the other dog to the situation. Which, listen, if you want to say, if you're conscious of that, of how that's working and that it's a distraction and not a conscious thing that the dog is doing, and you want to say that it's the dog teaching the other dog things, whatever. I don't care. You know what I mean? It's not that big of a deal. But it's really important to be aware of it because some people will take it too far and think that when they train a dog that they have, when they get a younger dog, they don't have to do anything because that older dog is going to train the dog for them.
Yeah.
Right? And that, it just doesn't really work that way. The only thing that I think that dogs can really consciously train each other is boundaries and how they interact with dogs. Like, let's say you have an older dog, right? That's a pretty stable social dog, right? And you have a young, rambunctious asshole puppy. And your older dog is consciously putting that dog in its place when it does things that it shouldn't be doing as far as the interactions. That is a conscious thing that dog is doing, teaching that dog boundaries. But even with that one, there's not this deep emotional insight of the dog doing it, so I could just mold this younger generation to be better with all the other dogs later on.
Yeah.
It is teaching the dog how to interact with them.
Yeah.
And that, as a byproduct, may impact the dog's behavior towards other dogs.
Yeah.